Good morning, everybody. This is Jack Gershfeld from Altinex, and today we're going to talk about AVSnap. So typically, AVSnap is used from the beginning to the end of the project. There is no, you don't need to use any other software unless you want to, but you can take it from the conceptions to the conclusions. So what I usually do, I start from the concept by brainstorming. And in brainstorming, I use a mind map feature for AVSnap. Now you notice right here on the left-hand side, we have some tools. We have a pointer, which is basically how you select things. You have a line drawing, rectangle, text, arc, dimensions, and then you have the table, and here it is, it's a mind map object right here on the left-hand side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just drag this object right here, and click, and it automatically will appear right here in the middle of the page. Then you also have a formatting function, so text formatting, color formatting, if it's a text, line, page, and fill formatting. Alignment functions, decrease, increase objects, and alignment of the layers, and finally mirroring. So all of this on the left-hand side. On the top, you have different additional options where you can select the thickness of the line, rotation, grid size, and you also have backup information. So all of the files, as you walk through, every file is being backed up automatically. So you never have to worry about losing any files. Most of the things that I do with AVSnap, I use my left hand to control all the shortcuts on the keyboard. I use my right hand with the mouse. So if you press F1, you will get the keyboard shortcut right here. This keyboard shortcut gives you as much information as you can get on a shortcut. It's a concise. I would suggest you print it and have it next to you when you start learning the AVSnap. So if you want to press add library, you just press A. If you want to format selected object, you just press B. So for example, if I start a new project, I can press N. I can press, new project right here, file, new project. But if I want to format the project, I press P, and it gives me format for the page. Now let's go ahead. On the right-hand side, you also have a color bar. You can select different colors. Let's start with the project, and as I go through the project, I will give you more features and explain to you how they work. So I just put an object called mind map, and you know that it's a mind map when you have that little globe on the top of it. You can move this globe by pressing alternate key, and you can move it around, but most of the time I just leave it on the top so that I know that this is a mind map. So today, let's go ahead and do a little example of the mind map about the AVSnap, and then we'll go to the courtroom system design. So let's go ahead, double click on this, and the text will appear. Notice that AVSnap has two types of editors. One is called the mini editor, and one is called full editor. A mini editor allows you to type in single lines, and that allows you, once you get to the end of the line, you hit enter, and it's done. So if I put here AVSnap modes, because I want to know what mode it has, if I hit enter, it automatically puts the text into here. So in a way, you can use a keyboard without ever touching the mouse, and you can fully do the mind map just with your keyboard. So, but you can notice it's a little bit small. I can zoom in, or I can zoom out, or I can press letter F as a shortcut, and it will fit the page in, okay? Let's see if we can format our mind map a little bit better so it's a little bit more presentable. So I'm going to press P for page format, and I'm going to go to mind map tab right here, and I'm going to say auto configure my mind map as I go through, just auto configure it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this, and now it's going to configure. Now notice that as I adjust it, AVSnap will automatically snap the words and put things together, so it's a little bit easier for you. So go ahead, AVSnap mode, and I'm going to talk about a couple of modes. Let's say mode number one, we call the project mode. And when I hit enter, it automatically inserts the project mode. You can put it on the right, you can put it on the left, you can move it around. We also have a communication mode. Now, for those of us who are spelling challenged, it's not a problem because you can always correct the spelling. Just pressing letter F7 will check the spelling. And in this case, AVSnap doesn't know what AVSnap is. But or once you type, you can automatically correct the spelling by right-clicking on the word. Communication mode, we also have presentation mode. All right, and we have also control mode. As you can see, AVSnap have many different modes of operation, but you get the idea how the mind map works. You put different things and you just kind of start building the mind map as it goes. So what I did, I already put together a little modes mind map, and I'm just going to drop it on top of it and say replace it. Okay, and there it is. So here's a little mind map. AVSnap mode, we have a PDF mode with the dual screen presentation mode, control mode, assistance, communication modes, and project modes. All of these are available within AVSnap. In the PDF mode, you have full control over PDF files. And that means that a lot of times we work with PDF files and we need something to adjust the PDF files. So what I've done, I've moved the mind map of the project that I created before, and it has different modes of operations. And I think I went already through those modes. But what I want to do is look at the PDF file. So let's look at the PDF mode by pressing this Display PDF Tool button right here. I have two screens. And what I can do with those two screens, I can manipulate PDF files. And so let's take a look at typical design and see if we can look at the PDF file. So let me load this design right here quickly. Okay, right there. So there's a typical design that allows me kind of move things around. So if I want to move the page, I can just select it and move it to the front. I can move it to the back. I can right-click and apply password to the project. I can close PDF file. I can rotate the pages. So a lot of times, if I need to rotate the pages, I can just click the space bar and the page is rotated. And then you can just save your PDF file. What we find a lot of times in the project, you may end up with the multiple PDF files and you want to combine them as one presentation file that you're going to give to the customer. So AVSnap gives you those tools. So let's go ahead and close this. We don't need to save this. And I'm going to go back to here. We also have a presentation mode. The presentation mode, it's basically similar to what you get when you use a PowerPoint presentation. So if I press F5, I'm going to go to full screen. And you can see on the right-hand side, it says ready. But I also have two buttons. And the reason is because a lot of times you have multiple screens. If you have multiple screens, you can move your presentation to different screens. So we're going to have it on the main screen. So pressing space bar will give you a full presentation if you want to go through your design. So I can zoom in on this. I can move around. There's your hand moving around. I can zoom out. I can press letter F to fit it back into the page. But it gives you a quick way to do presentation once you get to customer side. Press Escape key, and you're back into design mode. So that's your presentation mode right here. Now, a control mode is quite different. In the control mode, you're working with pixels. Therefore, you define your project in pixel mode because that's what's going to be your display. And what I did, I just converted to pixels. Now, to run the project in the control mode, you just press F9. And you can see your project is running right here. So if this would be your actual panel, control panel, it would be running your control panel. There's more than this. When you work with the control mode, there's many other features there. For example, you can enable a web server on the server settings, and that will allow you to take the project, enable web server, and it will serve the project at the same time on the website. So let's take an example and see if we can see how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and get my server set up. I'm going to enable it. I'm going to display my graphical user interface, and I'm also going to enable the server right here. Let's go ahead and click OK. And now it's running a server. So look at this address. I have a MAC address 192.168-1-127. And if you look back at the server setting, we're in port number 81. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. And it says right away, web server is enabled. It says OK. Let's go to browser now. and see if we can display the same image through the website. And that's how you can basically, any control system that you're using, you can automatically display it on the web page if somebody wants to control it through a website. So let me go ahead and get the browser going here. And we'll go to 192.168.1.127. And we're going to put port 81 right here. And you can see that when we completed this, it translates directly to this port. Okay. Don't worry about this little line. No, it works. It's on my particular computer. I have to adjust this. But you can also adjust the size of the display, and you can do different pixels, and it will show up different way on the website. So a lot of times, you can use this to actually serve in your company. If you need to use any charts or graphs, you can serve it right to the web page so people can see it. All right, so with this done, we just stopped the server, and we now have to communication mode. Communication mode allows you to communicate with the equipment directly during the installation and test equipment before you finish the full complete project. So in the communication mode, you go right here. There's a little modem picture, and click on it. And now you switch to communication mode. You have a terminal window on the left. You have a notepad on the right. So double click here. And you can set up whether you want to talk through the COM ports, if you have any available. In my case, I don't have any COM ports available. Or you can communicate through TCP, or what we call telnet. And you can set up the port number, let's say port number 23. You can go local host, or you can go 192.168.1.127, for example. And that will allow you directly to talk to different equipment located on this IP address. Okay. In case you want to do a broadcast, you can also do UDP mode. Some equipment can be controlled through the UDP mode. But what it does, it allows you to type characters here. For example, if I want to say input 1 to output 2 for card number 5, then I can send the command right here. And then I'm going to set it up for the UDP mode just so that we can demonstrate how it works. 303030. And I'm going to just send the command to UDP mode. And you just press F3, and out goes your command. So that's your communication mode. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and correct it right here. We're going back. All right. Finally, we get to the project mode. The project mode is our normal mode. I'm going to go ahead and exit this, and there's our project mode. In the project mode, you can decide to do whatever you want. You can have different sizes of pages. The way I usually start, I open the library by pressing letter E. I have libraries on the right-hand side. All of the libraries are shipped with the product, so that when you install the software, it's also installed the library on your machine. Once library is installed, let me move this away from us. Once library is installed, then you can go ahead and design the project. So in this case, I'm going to select a library called Pages. And I'm going to put the page library right here. By double-clicking on the page library, it automatically puts it in the middle of the page. And you can see the whole outline is just got right to the page. You can do a couple of things. You can create a different page called a template, or you can select a layer. In this case, we're going to do one-page design. So I'm just going to put a quick layer. I'm going to put this on the layer number 1, and I'm going to lock it by clicking this yellow little green button. So now this whole thing is locked, and I can go ahead and do design here. So if we're doing the courtroom design, I would go back and start the same way from the mind map. And I already put one together, so let's go ahead and pull this mind map. And you can see what I've done. I put a courtroom on the top, and I said, here's my courtroom, and here's my design. And what I need to do is to be able to kind of outline what I'm going to put inside the courtroom. So I put on the left-hand side, I put audio, then I put video, then I put control. Under audio, I put all my inputs. So I have a plaintiff, I have document camera, defendant, video conference, phone system. On the outputs, I'm going to have a power amplifier in the courtroom. It's not a big courtroom, so I'm going to put 100 watt power amplifier. Ceiling speakers, 10 ceiling speakers, put 70 volts lines running through. So that gives me about 10 watts per speaker. And then that should be sufficient for a small courtroom. Then I kind of outline a different video. And I said I have video inputs. I have input from a plaintiff, from defendant, from a document camera. There could be some other inputs. You can decide what you want to do. Now notice that if you press alternate key, you can move this nodes separately. But if you don't press alternate key, you move all of it together. If you need to move the whole mind map, you can move the whole mind map together also. Finally, I outlined the outputs, jury, judge, projector, put a display type I want, and finally on the control I put bailiff will have control and have a touch panel. And you can expand it to any size you want. I think my biggest mind map that I've done to date has about 1,200 nodes. And that's a very large project. But for smaller projects, you should be able to finish everything within 50 nodes, 50 to 60 nodes. A typical time for a mind map takes about 15, 20 minutes to put it all together. But it's a good overview, and it's a very good view of what you're going to be doing. Now that we have a mind map, let's go back to the design. So I like to use libraries because libraries have all the components. So to download the libraries, you can press letter A, and that will give you libraries. And where are they located at? Let's go ahead to drive. I'm going to go to drive C. So here are the program files on the drive C. You will find AVSnap. Then you will find libraries. And on the libraries, you have Altinex and general libraries. In general, okay, we have a bunch of libraries that we put together, but the one I like is the Pages and 3D AVSnap and 3D AV components. Under Altinex library, I just download all of them. So you can kind of select all of them just like this and just say open, and all of them will be open on the right-hand side. And here we are. We have all the libraries loaded here. So let's look at the 3D AV components. In this case, I want to put laptops on the left. So there's my laptop. I just drag it right here and put it on the left. I may have plaintiff, and I may have defendant right here. I have a document camera, so I just type in doc on the bottom left corner, on the bottom right corner right here. The document camera shows up into here. You can easily adjust it if you make it large or if you make it small. Right there. Okay. If you have anything else, you can just put in between, but let's assume that this is it. We're going to have a simple courtroom system. Then we're going to see what we're going to have on the output. On the output, I want to put a couple of displays. So but the display is looking outside. So I'm going to use a mirror function and click it, and it's going to go right in the mirror and make it a little bit smaller. So I'll have a couple of displays here. And so that will be the jury display, and there will be a plaintiff display. And let's see if I can also put a small judge display, which is going to be right here. If you want to add the text, just press letter T, and then just say jury. Okay. If you need more than one line of text, you can go ahead and have full editor. In full editor, you can type things as you need to see them. So either way, but you can set default as the full editor. You can set default as a small editor or mini editor. I personally like mini editor because it's just a quick, when you do the project, it's very, very quick to work with. And we'll put this 12. Okay. And this is going to be a judge right here. So once you have all of them marked the way you want it, you put the system goes actually in between. So what I do, most of the time I will go to multitasker because multitasker is what I'd like to use in this 12-slot multitasker, and I'll put it right here, make it a little bit smaller. And I'll explain to you how we go from here to the next step. So finally, I take the multitask, I take the lines and I draw the cables. The way to draw the cable is to basically press letter C, or you can select it from here. When you press letter C, you can just click here and just draw the cable. Now notice it's going to ask if I want to add a snap point because it says I want you to be connected here permanently, so as I move things around, it's not going to move. So I say yeah. Go ahead, connect it permanently to this dot. Okay. Let me come back here, and I'll do the same thing with this cable. Okay, right here, and the cable again right here, and we'll do the same thing on the back end here. Now that looks great, okay, but the problem is it's kind of a rat nest type, and as you get a bigger project, it's kind of hard to handle. So what we do have, we have a draw assist function here in AVSnap, which is top left corner. It's 90 degrees. And what it allows you to do to automatically square everything up, okay? So you don't need a grid, you don't need anything. It just squares things up. So double click here, click on the dot on a handle, let it go. It will automatically adjust it. Double click, bring it outside, and you can see I can very quickly align everything to be nice and straight. Now, if you need to move things, you can see you can move things left and right if you need to adjust them, make it a little bit pretty. And the same thing I'm going to do here. So we'll make this, and finally, we're coming back to here. So far I made it nice and clean. I'm going to go back to the pages, and I'm going to select a page with the, this page is 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to go ahead and press letter F to center it, put the outline into it, and put the outline on layer 1, block it, and that's it. So here is a simple design that I've done. I don't know what's inside here, but because it's a universal system, it doesn't matter what's inside here. I'll show it in a second how we actually going to design actual project. So I'm going to go ahead and press letter S, and it will remove those little dots. You see those little red snap-in points? You can remove them just by pressing letter S. And of course, you can put a text, my courtroom system, and outline it here. And look at this. When you use your mouse, every time you put it someplace, it will show you a little round circle. That means you can use a wheel to adjust the size of the text. Or if you need to get thicker lines, for example, if I want to make these lines thicker, I can come back here and just adjust them to make them thicker, all of them. If you want to change the color, so there's a line color, you can see I can change the line color. So let's say I'm going to make these ones coming in red, and these ones coming out, I'm going to make them blue, for example. Some people select different colors for different type of signal. If you have video, audio, or anything else, you can adjust that. So here's my courtroom system. I have 3 inputs. I have 3 outputs, multitaskers in between. So maybe it's time for us to do a little design and show the actual components inside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a page right now by pressing N. And I'm going to add 2 more pages, and I'm going to duplicate page format right here, duplicate page format so that they are identical. So I'm going to come back to page number 2, and let's go ahead and start doing a little bit of a design. So a couple of ways to do design. As the sources, I kind of like to keep 3D sources and just kind of copy them, and then I can go ahead and put in the actual circuitry. So in this case, I'm going to need some kind of a HDMI switcher or something. So I'm going to go to multitasker, right here, digital multitasker. It says diagram symbols. And in this case, let's see if I can select 4x4. There's 4x1. Let's see if I have a little matrix switcher. 8x4. There it is. Matrix switcher, 8x4 matrix switcher. There's a 4x4 matrix switcher. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in here. Okay. Come back here. I'm going to also take my displays, put it back into here. And now I have a switcher. I also need enclosure for the multitasker, which is the 12 slot. So I'm going to put it right here. And I think I'm good. So let's go ahead and connect again input 1, input 2, input 3, output 1, output 2, output 3. Now this is a little bit different because now we have a symbol that was designed. we have a full parameter on the input of the signal. So you can see it's an HDMI connector. It's HDMI output. It has a female connector. If I put it here, it's HDMI input. If I put it here, it's a power input, network input. And you can see we also can add a little picture. So all of these symbols can be designed by users. So if you need to modify it, you can modify it right here in the design mode. So I made the connections. And now I'm going to look at the cable and see what cables I've put in. So I'm going to press letter Y, and it's going to give me a list of cables. Okay. And in this case, we have 6 cables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's one cable from MT1, which is a multitasker, and it's an output. MT1 output, output. And there's another HDMI input 1, 3, and 4. That's your input. So you can do a couple of things. You can export them to text box, and it will appear right here on the bottom. You will have everything here, and you can delete what you don't want, and just have a list of the cables. Okay, it also tells you how many pieces of cables do you need. The other thing you can do, you can export it directly to Excel. If you want to have a list of cables once you finish the project, just type Y and then say export to Excel, and that will allow you to just export it as a, so I'm going to put desktop, save it, and if you go to desktop, we should have Excel. When you open Excel, you will have a full list of cables. So you can also do cables per page, or you can do cables, there it is. There's your cables, and it's all the nets, everything's here, so if you need to label everything, it's already in a Excel format. Now, in addition to this, you can do materials list. So by pressing letter M, you can see there's a material list. So in this case, we have a MT302-121, MT305-404, and you have 12-slot enclosure and 4x4 matrix switcher. And you can also export it to Excel as materials. And if we look at the Excel materials, it will also line everything up so you can have a full bill of materials. You can span it multi-pages. So in this case, you have quantity, manufacturer, model number, description, and the actual product. Now, Altinex, if you're an authorized Altinex dealer, you will receive Altinex prices, which you can import those prices into the libraries. And when you import those prices, you will be able to basically have a full bill of materials with the prices at the same time. We have both the end user prices and the dealer prices importable into the AVSnap format library. All right, so we have this done. Here's our switcher. This is the main chassis. We have our main switcher that's going to switch. We didn't touch the audio yet, so I'm just going to focus on the video. And what's the next step? The next step, we need to design some kind of a user interface. How are we going to switch this? So let's assume that we're going to have a touch panel. So I'm going to go back to the 3D AV components, and we're going to say touch panel, and let's see. We can put a little touch panel. That's going to be a little controller, and we're going to connect it through Ethernet port. So I'm going to just connect it to here. Okay, so there we go. So that's our complete system, excluding audio. If we need the audio, we can always come back to the multitasker, digital multitasker symbols, and put audio here, and decide if we want 16 by 16 matrix, or we want a power amplifier. This one is the audio power amplifier, 50 watts or 50 watts. So we can, let's see, this is the audio. And let's put an audio amplifier, 50-watt audio amplifier. We'll put 16 by 16, 8 by 2, and we put a mixer. So it is. There's an audio amplifier in the mixer. So we can have 8 microphones or some other inputs into the audio mixer, and then one audio amplifier goes to speakers. And we also can have the converter that converts it to 70 volts if we need to. All right, let's go ahead and convert it to actual design. What is it going to look like on the back of the multitasker, on the back of the project, let's say a rack that we're installing? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new page. Okay. I'm going to duplicate the format, but this time I'm also going to copy all the objects. So there's my new page, and I'm copying all the objects. Let's go ahead and remove this for right now. And I'm going to move them on the side. Okay. Because the actual layout is going to have, actual size of the product. So we're going to increase the page size to, let's say, 22 by 17. So there's our design. Move everything to the right. This goes to the left. And now we're going to go and select what we call outline components. So all of these libraries, in a second, I'll show you how to create a library, and that will help you quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and move this design right here. So there's my multitasker. I put it right on the top. Here's my displays. So so that's one corresponds to this unit right here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Now I'm going to select 8x4 matrix, which is right here. And now we probably need to use a smaller enclosure. This is a 20-slot enclosure. Let's use the 12-slot enclosure. It's a little bit smaller. There's no need to go to such a large enclosure. All right. Now I'm going to have to rotate this. On the bottom right here, item number 6 on the bottom, it shows 15 degrees. Now I need to rotate it 90 degrees. So I'm going to increase it to 90 by using my scroll wheel on the mouse and pressing a space bar. So that will allow me to turn it, and now I inserted it here. I'm also going to put here audio amplifier. So this will be a level converter for us, and then we're going to come back audio amplifier. And I also need to have a mixer and a mixer. So there we go. So the level converter converts a regular power amplifier output to 70 volts output. I'm going to put it like this. And finally, I'm going to put a mixer here. So my right side is going to be dedicated to the audio. My left side is dedicated to the video. And the final thing I need to do is just to put an empty slot, blank slot. So I'm going to go here and cover it with a blank slot. So here's my design, fully assembled, ready to go. Let me just cover everything up. And again, we're not centric to Altinex products. You can design libraries for any products you want and for any application. It's just easier. We already have this project, panel, so it's easier to show it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Here's my design. I can have my inputs, and I can place one input to here, one input to here, one input to here. Okay, I can take my outputs and go to display here, and display here. All right. Move them a little bit to the left. And finally, I have my touch panel, which is going to be a control panel. Let's see, it's right here. And I'm going to connect it to control. So that's a typical setup on the back. The output from the audio amplifier will go into the mixer, so I can connect them here with the regular cable to the input. Okay. And then output from here will go to level converter, and that will convert it to 70 volts. And there we're done. If we need more channels, we can put 2 amplifiers. This one is a 2-channel, but if you need more, if you need 1 channel, you can use only 1 channel. All right, we are pretty much laid out here. And the next thing we're going to do on the same project, we're going to go and design user interface. So I'm going to add a new page, right-click, and add a new page. We're not going to duplicate anything. And in this case, I'm going to use 640 by 480. I'm going to use a small little panel. 640 by 480 will have a couple of buttons in it. And so this is the actual size. And let's go ahead and design a little interface. So I'm going to put a button here. And inside the button, I'm going to put input 1. Input 1. Okay. I press letter H to align it horizontally, letter V to align it vertically, and I'm going to increase the size of the text and I make it bold. And there it is. But the button does not look as clean as I want. So I'm going to press Properties, letter B, and I'm going to do button fill. And button fill allows you to design all kinds of things here. So now, finally, I need to assign some kind of a text to it so I know what to use in the code when I program this. So in this case, we're going to call this input select. And we're going to make sure that it's an index key so that we can have multiple buttons, but only one code that will control them. So now the magic starts right here. I can do auto increment. I press Control Copy Paste, and it increments automatically to number 2, and copy paste to number 3, and here's my 3 inputs. Okay. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing for the outputs. I'm going to copy this and paste it right here, but I'm going to call this now output, clear text, output 1. I'm going to go to properties and select this. This is going to be out select, out cell select, number 1. And finally, I'm going to make my outputs available. 1, 2, and 3, and 3. Okay. So here's my inputs. Of course, I'm making it very generic and simple, but here's my input, here's my output. I can select input and I go to the output. But there needs to be a code underlying here that allows us to actually do the functionality of these buttons. Okay. If you need to align them, you can do a couple of ways. You can select them and just spread them so they're equal in distance. Okay, and you can also align using horizontal and vertical alignment, so they're all in exactly the same position. All right, so far so good, and I can test it right away. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file. I'm going to save it as my project. But meanwhile, you notice that it was called untitled. And what happens if something happens? My computer goes down. I can always go to help. And right here, it says recover files. If anything happens, you can always go here and recover. We have now up to 5 backups that happened at the same time. So you can see there's 5 backups that happened, and they happened every minute. So 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. So if anything happens at any time, just go back here, recover the file, and you're back as golden. Now the backup is saved in a specific location, and you can always go to that location to display what files are saved there. By pressing this button right here, it will go right into this location. You can decide how much backup you want to keep. If you want to keep 100 megabytes, 250, 500, or unlimited. I usually keep 100 megabytes. Anything more than 100, it's just too much. And then I go clean up the folder. Notice right now it's red, but I can apply it, and it became small, green right here. That means what it did, it removed all the files that are older than, to keep the folder at around 100 megabytes or so, okay? So now that's how you maintain how much you store the data on your computer. Now with this up and running, I saved the files. Now I can press F9, and server is enabled. So we can always go back to our server and see if the inputs are the same. And you can see I press the input here, I can select it, but I also can press it here, and I can do the same thing on my website. So as I design my GUI in real life here, you can also monitor it in real life on the website if you want to, or you can control it from website. Let's come back and add a couple of more objects so that we know what needs to be done. In this case, I need to connect object, we call it TCP object. A TCP object allows you to connect to any type of TCP device. So for example, if you have a switcher that's controlled through TCP, like Multitasking controlled through TCP, so we can go ahead and add it here. It's called a TCP device. We'll call it 192.168.1.130, okay? The port is 23, timeout 1000, and we apply this. So what it does, it allows you now to connect to that port. So if you press F9 and you run this, F3 will tell you what ports are available. So in this case, you are disconnected from this port because we didn't connect it yet. But you can monitor all the traffic here and everything that goes through the control system. And finally, we need to write some code here. So the code is written very easily. Just show code, on click. Are you sure you want to add a new procedure? Yes. And now you go into the design mode where you can put your code in. Button one click, do something. Okay, you can send a command, you can receive the command, you can push button down, push button up, select inputs. So there's many different features, and that would be for a different time to teach you how to program, but it's a very straightforward programming, and we have many tutorials on this. Once programmed, your system is fully operational. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this right now, and I'm going to load a real project that we've done, and that comes courtesy of Tracy from that he was kind enough to share it with us. So I'm going to go ahead and do courtroom project, and we'll see how we can go from the beginning to the end. And this one has 19 pages of design. I'm going to remove the library. I'm going to put in. So here was a design where you have multiple computers coming in, computer 1, computer 2, document camera, computer 3, DVD. You have a left table, which could be for plaintiff or defendant. You have the transmitters that transmit through HDBT, go to the 8x8 matrix switcher. There's a multitasker 3x1 auto switcher that allows you to take all these inputs and auto switch between them. Video conferencing, also we have a blackout generator. That means if nothing needs to be displayed, that input is routed to all the outputs and all they go blank. Also a breakout card that breaks everything out, and then back to the HDBT transmitters to all the displays, and then additional output to the different table, which is a left table, right table. And so that's a simple diagram. Then there's an audio drawing, which is basically audio inputs, audio outputs. And then we looked at the controls. So what I usually like to do is to put some kind of control together, a diagram. And this tells you how everything is controlled in the room. And it's very nice because if you come back to the room, a year from now, you want to know what's connected to what. So in this case, we have a touch panel running AVSnap, which is this program. It has IP control to the IP switch. It controls two multitaskers. One is a 12-slot, one 20-slot. And each of the multitaskers has control cards that control to COM1 through all the way to COM9. Plus, we have a direct control over CAM1 and CAM2 for the video coming in. And we can also do control system power. So I also kind of draw a quick room layout just to understand where things are. And finally, put together a full multitasker system that shows all the inputs and outputs. So you can have all your inputs on the left, all the outputs on the right, everything how it's connected in between, and everything done within the AVSnap format. So this was the design portion. And then we go into the user interface portion. So in this case, we've designed a video screen, which is video control screen, VTC, audio control for volume, telephone, and then selection. This is a directory of the people that can be used and other. Okay. So if I press F9 to this folder, it goes right into the design, and you can turn the system on. Okay. I can also come back here and basically come back to the same place. And as you can see, the web interface is identical to the actual system. So you can see it's whatever you can do on your computer, you can also do on the website. It works exactly the same way. Okay. And so if I just type 124, you can see that 124 is showing up on the left-hand side. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move out. And you can have all the other controls. You have video controls, you can defend, prosecution, you can decide cart, DVD input, you can select play, resume play. You can start the timer. If you only have 30 minutes to talk, you can increase the timer by 1 minute or decrease it by 1 minute. You can mute the system, unmute it, volume up, volume down. If you need to black out monitors, you just click the blackout and all monitors will black out. If you want to show all just show all. And then if you need to go to video conferencing system, you have the same exactly full control over video conferencing system. So you can go up and you can control video conferencing control. And you can also contact the clerk if you need to do it. And finally, you can turn the system off if you want to shut down it, and then you're done. So I'm going to go ahead and exit and just show a little bit on the back end. One of the things is in AVSnap format, you have all these tabs, and sometimes you may want to see all of them at the same time. So we have a function, it's called the multi-page view. If you click on the multi-page view, you can now zoom out, and you can see all of your pages within the project, and you can scroll through them if you need to, just to see all the designs that you have within the project, okay? So if you want to go to a specific page, you just double-click on this page, and it puts you right back into this page, all right? So that gives you a little bit overview of what Multitasker is capable of doing. So let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the libraries. Because a lot of questions are, well, yeah, you have the libraries, but what happens if I need my own library? What if I design my own products? So I press letter E to display the library pane, and I'm going to close all the libraries, okay? So right now it's all clean. This is an empty page, no libraries, no nothing. Right-click here and say New Library. Okay, save changes to the project, no. So what you have now is what we call a library mode. A library mode, if you can see it on the top left corner. Now that you have a library mode, you can design different components. The first symbol in a library mode is just for your information. So you can say manufacturer, for example, Altinex. You can put the date. You can put the library name, my library, okay. And what I usually do at this stage, I just save this right away, save as. Even though, and then let's go to desktop, and I'm going to say my library. Okay. So right here, we have a properties tab, and you can decide what you want to do. This, whatever you put in the first library component, that will be automatically added to every other component that you generate into this library. So if I put designator, this is going to be SW for switch, for example. It's going to add automatically to every symbol that I'm going to add to this. Description, I usually don't touch description model number because this will vary quite a bit. But you can put manufacturer name. And you also can put manufacturer phone number. And you can put a website. Okay. And we don't need to do anything else. Here we have a custom field. You can define up to 6 custom fields. So in this case, I would define, let's say, power, if I want to put power in watts. Okay. You can define the current, okay, in amps. You can define BTU if you need to calculate rack, how much heat you're going to generate in the rack. Okay, you can define weight in pounds. And whatever else you want to do. If you want, some people put control, and you can put whether it's RS-232 or IP control. The next thing you need to do is to decide what type of symbol it is. You have a diagram symbol used to do schematics. You have photo symbol if you just take a picture of the product. Outline symbol if you just want to see the physical outline of a back panel. That's what I like to do. If you're in the metric system, or you can use metric system, flow chart, or control system, control symbol. We're not going to talk about these right now. We're just going to talk on the top. In this case, I'm going to do a diagram symbol. And I'm also going to define, once I go into the library, what the compliance of the product is. So I can say that the product requires to have FCC compliance, UL, and then as I enter different symbols, I can say, is it compliant? So later on, when you print a report, you can say, here's my list, and here's all the compliances for my products. Okay. So let's go ahead. We're done with this. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to right-click and say, add a new symbol. As you can see, you're adding a new symbol, and you're creating, this is a your origin, but it doesn't matter where you put your project. It's pretty much irrelevant. So I'm going to go ahead and create a grid of 0.1, and I'm going to put the outline like this. This is my project, and I'll call it a switcher. And let's go ahead and align it horizontally. And I kind of like to do it this way. Different people have different ways. You can put input like this, and I'm going to put input 1. When you horizontal vertical aligned, when you copy paste it, it will automatically increment input 1 to input 2 to input 3. Okay. You can do the same thing for the output. The next thing is to put the snap point in. So when you put a snap point in, you're basically defining what this input is going to be. By double clicking it, you can select the color of the snap point. So if you want to have a red, it's good, but you can also have a green. You can match it later with the color of the cable that you want to assign to it. Connector type, you can put BNC, RCA, 19, VGA, or others. I can put HDMI, for example. And you can say number of connectors, category, you can say video, signal type input, connector type female, and you can also put an image in. If you want to put an image, you can add an image to this. It will automatically keep the image small so that you don't end up with a large symbol. So once you have this, you can copy paste this, and it will copy all of the properties. It will just increment the number, but it will copy all the properties. And there's a bunch of other things we can do, but just to give you an idea. So here's all your input. You can go ahead and do the same thing on the output. I'm going to just make one output. I use letter R to create a rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and put output 1. And I'm going to horizontal vertical alignment. And I'm going to add the snap point here. Define it as HDMI. And this is going to be still green because I want all the HDMIs to be green. Category video, that's going to be output, and it's still female. And there you have it. Now, you can add additional file information here by going to a text, full editor. And you can see right here, there's lots of different things you can add. So for example, you can display symbol designator, you can display model number, you can display description, manufacturer name, you can display custom field. All of this can be displayed at the time you put on your design page. We're not going to do it right now, but just for reference. If we go to the properties, you can see that became a switch. You can put a model number, SP106102, for example, a description, 4x1 switch. And you can say that this is compliant, FCC compliant, UL compliant, TAA, WE, and Energy Star, or all the other compliances. Now that you're done with this, save the file, and you can go to your project. As you notice, once you go to project, your symbol is already here. And now you can just drag it to the page. Drag it to the page, and you can connect inputs to outputs. And when you move your mouse over this, it will tell you that it's an HDMI video input female socket. If you type in material list, it will display material list. So that's a brief overview of everything that AVSnap can do. There's many more functions. We have over 16 hours of training online if you want to go to the avsnap.com. And let's see, I should have this here. So if you go to avsnap.com and go to the main page right here under training, you have all these videos that you can kind of look through it. You also have videos on the bottom. That's a previous training that we've done. And that kind of goes through more details on every little function. The latest version of the AVSnap is 6.35, and currently our update mode is about every 2 months we're going to provide updates with the new features. If you do want any type of features, or if you do need anything, just give us a call, or just send us a text, or send us email, and we'll be able to help you. We do have a standard text line available if you just want to text with our salespeople. If you need anything else, contact us directly, and I want to thank you, James, for being there and just kind of holding the line there. And also, Tracy, thank you for providing this file. And everybody who came and spent an hour with me, I really appreciate your time. If you have any more questions, let me know. Thanks again, everyone, and take care.